Hello, and welcome to episode 173 of the How to Survive podcast. My name is Joe, and joining me, as ever, on the stage once again is Chris.
Hello, we're under the spotlight.
Yes.
There's people waiting in the wings. Can you see how little we know about ballet?
Yeah. Well, you'll be the Black Swan, and I'll be the Swan Queen. How does that sound? Well, that's that. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.
Yeah.
So the movie this week is Black Swan.
Yes, it is.
Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan from 2010.
Yeah.
A good film about ballet.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it's about.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
a woman doing ballet.
Yeah, it's an odd one for us to cover.
Yeah. It is. You say that it is an odd one for us to cover because it's quite hard to survive.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that when we do talk about how to survive in the movie. That usually happens towards the back end of the episode.
Yes.
The second half. The first half is given over to discussions of the themes.
Yes,
plots.
that's Act 1.
Yeah. Film criticism stuff.
Yeah.
Some hilarity in there, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Some of our listeners enjoy listening because it's funny.
Imagine.
But there you go. That's it. So, spoiler warning. We've seen the film, but maybe you haven't seen the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's available on Amazon to rent or on Now TV. I think you watched
Yes,
it on. Yeah.
to stream.
Good.
Yeah, and in, every DVD
Every bargain
shop.
bucket.
Yes.
The nation
for
over.
Pennies.
Yeah, it's a good
8
film.
years old now, Joe.
Properly good film, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I think it's like favourite film material.
Right, okay. Well, let's get on and talk about it, shall we?
Right. First positions, everyone.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. That's where you stand with your feet splayed like that. Under
Is
like a
it?
V. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't know how I know that.
Yeah. Is that from your years of ballet training?
Yeah, can you tell?
Yeah.
Pliés.
It's because you're folded almost in half while you're recording this, as you are every week, because you're so flexible.
We'll do a quick plot recap after this.
I had the craziest dream last night about a girl who was turned into a swan, but her prince falls for the wrong girl and she kills herself. He promised to feature me more this season.
Well, you should. You've been there long enough. And you're the most dedicated dancer in the company.
Our new Swan Queen, the exquisite Nina Sayers.
I'm Lily.
You're gonna be amazing.
Watch the way she moves. Sensual. She's not faking it.
Seduces! Attack it! Attack it! Come on!
Where'd you get these?
It's nothing.
You sweet girl.
Feel my touch. Respond to it.
Someone's hot for teacher.
I don't want to talk about that.
You really need to relax.
It's the role, isn't it? It's all this pressure. I knew it'd be too much. I knew it.
What's she doing here?
Black Swan tells the story of Nina, the ballerina. Nina dances at the New York City Ballet, a prestigious school run by the revered but power-mad artistic director Thomas Leroy.
Yeah, not to mention abusive.
Yes, that's the power-mad part. I mean, power abusive would be the best
Well,
phrase.
power mad makes him sound like he's
A control freak.
Yeah, whereas
Which he is.
yeah,
But he's also an abuser.
yes, he's abusing his pupils.
Yeah, not unlike the ballet teachers in other ballet films we've covered in recent weeks,
Yes.
but for different reasons.
Yeah, well, this is the concluding part of the ballerina triptych of the How to Survive podcast, isn't it?
Suspiria, and
Black Swan.
yeah,
Yes.
the three main horror films about ballet.
Yeah.
I mean, we ruled the others out immediately.
They're just 10 a penny.
Yeah. Leroy announces that the company's prima ballerina has retired, and that leaves a spot as the lead in this year's production of Swan Lake.
Will Nina be the prima ballerina?
Nina the prima ballerina. Yeah. Nina the prima ballerina. After a tense and humiliating audition, Nina assumes that she's missed the opportunity. At her controlling mother's suggestion, Nina visits Leroy to attempt to seduce him, but she backs out, and then he attempts to kiss her, leading her to bite him. It's an uncomfortable scene for pretty much every reason.
Yeah.
The following day, Nina is announced as the lead in Swan Lake. So obviously something worked. New at the school is Lily, a free-spirited and captivating personality who catches the eye of everyone in the school, including Leroy. Nina is struggling to pull off the Black Swan part of the ballet. Now, obviously, I know Swan Lake. You know Swan Lake. A quick recap of what that is. The Swan Queen, a white swan, seduces a prince, or they're going to get married. Then the Black Swan comes along.
They fall in love, but then the Black Swan comes along and seduces the prince. Right?
Who's the White Swan's twin sister?
Or I don't know.
Then the prince marries the Black Swan, and the White Swan throws herself from a cliff in despair at the end.
Yeah.
That's Swan Queen.
Yeah, or a
That's Swan Lake.
6-foot ramp on the stage.
Yeah.
Rather than a cliff.
Would you want your prima ballerina just jumping off a 6-foot ramp onto a mattress?
I don't know. Well, I was about to spoil the ending of the film.
Coming up. So she's struggling to pull off the Black Swan part of the ballet, which is traditionally the more seductive and sinister role. And Leroy points to Lily as a great example of, the freedom needed to embody that role. Nina becomes worried. Other worries begin to pile up, including the retired former prima ballerina, Beth McIntyre, accosting Nina at a party before arguing with Leroy and eventually throwing herself into traffic.
Yeah.
Leroy continues to belittle Nina's ability to perform the Black Swan, while also making advances at her and regular inappropriate remarks and actions.
Such as suggesting that she masturbates, asking her if she enjoys sex, so on and so
Kissing
forth.
her, grabbing her.
Yeah. Asking if her male co-dancer would like to fuck her, etc.
Yep. Good shit. It's
one of your favourite films, you said, Joe.
Nina has returned to a habit of self-harming, meaning her mother has become more controlling. She's obviously doesn't want her daughter to self-harm. This culminates in a scene where Nina masturbates, attempting to get in touch with her sexuality, as you just pointed out, Leroy suggested, only to realise that her mother was asleep in the room the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is it's like a social horror,
yeah,
but it's one of the most horrifying scenes in the film.
Yeah. The mother is horrible.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She starts out quite nice in the first scene, but you're like, something's amiss.
Yeah.
And then you're like...
And then she threatens to throw a whole giant birthday cake that she knows her daughter can't eat anyway in the bin if she doesn't have some.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, she's
not a nice
damaged woman.
Nina begins to hallucinate versions of herself around the school and the city. And after an altercation with Lily, she returns home to an argument with her mother. Lily shows up and invites Nina to dinner to apologise, and Nina accepts, much to the chagrin of her mother, who is a panicking control freak. Lily laces a drink with ecstasy to help Nina relax, and Nina drinks it, spending the night in a state of confused merriment, before returning home with Lily for another row with her mum, followed by a night of passion with Lily. The next day, Nina wakes up alone, late for an important rehearsal. She arrives to find Lily has been playing the Black Swan, and enraged, asks Lily why she left, as in left her that morning.
Yeah.
Only to learn that Lily never returned home with her the night before, and it was all a big hallucination. Nina's hallucinations increase, including...
Or is Lily... lying to gaslight Nina?
It's a fair point. I took it at face value.
I think that's to some extent the idea, because you're led to believe that Lily, because you're seeing the film from Nina's perspective, you're led to believe that Lily has it in for Nina.
Yeah, but it's like that's not confirmed necessarily, because she's also quite friendly to her.
No, exactly. Yeah. But then the whole thing is gaslighting Nina, isn't it? It's making her feel like she
was prime for gaslighting, though.
Yes,
she didn't. It wasn't hard to gaslight.
No, but is she even being gaslit, or is she gaslighting herself?
That's the question.
Yeah.
Nina's hallucinations increase in frequency, including tearing skin from her own hands, which is unpleasant. Webbing appearing between her toes, a version of herself covered in blood trying to drown her in the bath, and her legs breaking backwards to mimic a swan's legs. I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
In one ambiguous event, Nina visits Beth in hospital, and following an argument, Beth stabs herself repeatedly in the face. Nina runs away, only to find the bloody knife in her own hand. So you're not really sure if that's all a hallucination, or some parts of it. Ooh, crazy. Nina's mother tries to prevent her from performing on opening night as she is not mentally well, which is maybe correct. And they violently fight, with Nina breaking her mother's hand. She attends the play and performs a perfect opening as the White Swan. In the changing room, preparing to come on as the Black Swan, Lily enters and they fight. Nina pushes Lily into a mirror and stabs her in the stomach with a shard, killing her. She hides Nina's body in the shower and goes on stage. She performs a frenzied version of the Black Swan and transforms on stage into an actual swan, which of course is another hallucination.
Yeah, there's a wide shot of the theatre erupting in rapturous applause when she does the climactic part of the dance, and we see what I'd imagine is supposed to be a subjective viewpoint. You know, the camera is on stage with Nina and she literally turns into a swan, feathers are up for her. And then it cuts to an objective viewpoint from the audience and she's human again, but the lights cast her shadow as a swan. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Which is very cool. Yeah.
Back in the changing room, Nina realizes that she didn't kill Lily after all. That too was a hallucination. She looks down and realizes that she actually stabbed herself, mortally wounding herself. In the final act, she performs the perfect finale where the White Swan throws herself from a cliff. Nina lands on a mattress to rapturous applause, and Leroy tells her, "They love you," but soon realizes that Nina is wounded. Nina smiles, and the film fades to white.
She says she was perfect as well, doesn't she?
She says, "I was perfect."
Yeah, I think so.
Which is the point of the film, is she was driving perfection the whole time.
Yeah, she looks down the lens of the camera and goes, "This movie was about perfectionism."
So, Chris, Black Swan.
Yeah.
Darren Aronofsky, obviously a very good director.
Much better than his brother, Aaron Darrenofsky.
Yep. That's how brothers work.
Yeah.
That's how family names work.
Yes.
Change letters to change person.
Correct.
So what's up with Natalie in this movie, mate? What's up with her?
What's up with Natalie? Well, she's giving a blinding performance, Joe.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a very good film. It's a very, very, very good film. I remember seeing it in the cinema, and it was a pretty revelatory experience, I think.
It's kind of like, it's when you first see it, it's unlike anything you've seen before. I think it's just like such a strange film because it defies your expectations at every point.
Yeah.
Like, you think it's about a ballet in the beginning and it just goes crazy.
Yeah, well, it's like it's a paranoid thriller, isn't it, in the sort of Hitchcock mold. What I'd forgotten about it is that all of its themes are in there from about 2 minutes in the film.
Yeah.
So the scene where she's walking down the street and an apparent doppelganger walks past her, that happens probably at the 10-minute mark of the film.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought that would have been like much further into her descent.
When she's descending into mental health crisis.
Right, yeah. I think the particular theme that's clear throughout is that of duality, obviously, because there's Swan Lake, there's the Black Swan and White Swan. She's being asked to play both. There are doppelgangers everywhere, but it's even in the sort of more subtle things, like all of the dancers wear either black or white. Lily becomes the alternate version of Nina, and she only arrives after Nina learns that she'll have to access this dark part of herself. Yeah,
like almost instantly.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So there's all these like thematic things that are just like piled into the film straight away, and the film's only about 100 minutes long as well, which is it zips along at a fair old pace, I think.
But it's perfect filmmaking because it represents all its themes so perfectly.
Yeah.
There's no bum notes in the whole movie. It's just like,
I don't think so.
There's nothing where you like, I would have done that differently.
Yeah. It's a magnificent film, and it's a really great horror movie, I think.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, the question of like what is real and what is not real, I think most of the hallucinations seem to be a closed loop. So you'll see her rip the skin from her finger and grimace, and then realise that it was hallucination, and you still get the horror of it, but then you're like, oh, she's...
you have that it was a dream moment.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't feel cheap, because you can tell that it's her unravelling that's doing it.
Yeah, and you get the moment of her... I guess there's two ways to play it. So like in a film like Kill List, you get the whole scene that could or couldn't be real, and then the scene ends and you just go on to another scene and you're not given any closure. Whereas in this film, you often get that moment of her, lurching out of the bath when she feels like she's being drowned by the version of herself.
Yeah.
And you can see that objectively no one's in the room with her. So, it wants to make very clear that much of what's happening exists in her head. But then once you establish that certain things are happening in her head that aren't happening in real life,
it becomes even more unsettling.
Right, because then the film doesn't always make it entirely clear which is which.
Yeah, and there's certain things that aren't confirmed in that closed loop sort of way. So, like you mentioned earlier, the night of passion with Lily, that could be played one way or the other. Maybe Lily's lying.
Mm-hmm.
There's incidents where with Nina sees Lily and Leroy making out and around the theatre.
Right. But then he turns into a swan as well.
Admittedly, that does give it away.
Yeah.
But, is that a hysterical part of it? Is there some truth in it?
You don't know whether at some point...
This is a manifestation of her paranoia, or she's seeing something and it's becoming worse through her prism, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Her mother in the crowd at the end, she seems like quite happy to be there, and it's like, wait, is
well,
she
the mother's looks horrified.
Well, at the end?
Yeah, I think so. I think she looks... She's got like tears in her eyes, and I suppose you could either view it as my daughter's just done the most astonishing ballet dance ever.
Yeah.
But I look at it as like her mother recognises what's happening almost.
What she had to do to get there.
Well, I know later on we're going to compare it to Whiplash.
Yeah.
And I think there is an identical shot in Whiplash because there are a number of very similar things in Whiplash.
Yeah.
But in Whiplash, during the final performance, he is doing this incredible drum solo.
Yeah.
And you're in with him and like seeing all the drums he's hitting up close and all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, God, this is astonishing. What a thrill to watch him perfecting his craft. And then it cuts to his father, side of stage, watching on, who looks horrified because he understands what this is going to cost his son.
Yeah.
He understands the price his son is eventually going to pay, which I think the film makes very clear with all of its references to various jazz legends who all died in their 30s of drug overdoses in the pursuit of perfection.
Yes.
And I would argue that that shot in Whiplash is an almost direct quote of the shot in Black Swan. Especially given the similarities in context. And I think the mother is looking on in horror because she knows that
what's happening,
this is going to kill her.
Yeah.
And like not even necessarily in an immediate
in this
sense.
moment, yeah.
Yeah, because you're talking about what is and isn't real.
Yeah.
I'm not even totally sure if she actually dies at the end.
Yeah.
I think that to me feels like a fantasy because she's danced the perfect dance. The audience love her. Her teacher loves her in a professional and romantic sense because she kisses him and he looks like a little boy who's just been kissed for the first time. She's surrounded by adoration both from her peers and the audience. And it's like she can now die happy having attained perfection in her personal and professional life.
Everything's going well for her for once. Right?
Yeah, and it could be that she's hallucinating at the point of death as well. But I would argue that the way that scene is codified, it would suggest that not everything that's happening is real because
it's too good to be true.
Right, exactly. And she's I was perfect and etc. But there's a few things that I think I come down on one side or the other of. For example, I would wager that she doesn't have sex with Lily.
You don't think so?
No. I don't think that Lily does actually have it in for her at all. She's projecting. That's Nina projecting
her
the story
onto her. Yeah,
and projecting the Swan Lake, the story of Swan Lake onto their situation.
In the credits for the movie, the characters' names are all written as the character name / the equivalent role in Swan Lake.
Yeah.
So Natalie Portman is Nina / Swan Queen.
Yeah.
And Mila Kunis is
Lily
/
Black Swan. Yeah. I don't think that she kills Lily. I think that is representative of her killing off her inhibitions.
Yeah.
To her inhibition for committing entirely to the role. and that takes on the form of Lily because we've seen that she is what Nina desires to be all the way through the film.
Yeah. One alternative view would be that because the character in Swan Lake kills herself, that she's literally doing that so she can be perfect in that role.
Right. Yeah. No. That is a good reading of it. I think it's. I personally, I think my interpretation of it is that she is killing off the part of her that has prevented her from achieving that.
But the black swan isn't what she needs to kill off. It's the part that she needs to embrace.
No, but that's I know that. Yeah, but it's in the end. I mean, she like literally becomes the black swan, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And then after that, she's able to dance in this perfect manner.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like when we see Nina dying in inverted commas, that's when she's wearing the white dress again,
fade to white.
Right, exactly. I think. I mean, it's obviously designed to be ambiguous.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that's probably my interpretation of it. And obviously, the other more mad stuff, like people sprouting feathers, isn't real.
Yeah, it's just her becoming the role.
Yeah, or her
going mad,
legs
breaking
backwards.
That's such an unpleasant scene.
Yeah,
so bad. Oh man, it's pretty clear that the movie is a depiction of mental health.
Yes.
Right?
Or mental ill health.
Yeah, so, right? I mean, generally in movies, though, you get mental health in movies traditionally will be one particular symptom, which is treated as a whole representation of a condition. And let's take amnesia, for example.
Mm-hmm.
It can be quite gimmicky. So things like 50 First Dates or Memento, even something like Silence of the Lambs. That's a representation of psychopathy, which is very scary. It's probably not altogether real, if you know what I mean. Whereas this feels like quite a grounded portrayal of a mental illness, despite the fact that the hallucinations are very hysterical.
Yeah,
they're a way of showing the
strife that she's under.
Exactly, yeah, and like the underlying issues like self-harm and the eating disorder and things like that, they're really well represented. There's a part you alluded to earlier, which is where Nina's mum brings in this giant cake as a celebration for her getting this role.
Yeah,
and it's like, your daughter. You probably know your daughter's got an eating disorder.
Yeah, you can. Is there a shot earlier on where she's in a toilet cubicle?
Yeah,
and she's been throwing up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she's. The stereotype about ballerinas as well is that it's something they struggle with.
Yeah,
and it ends in Nina's mum basically punishing her for having an anxiety about food. Yeah, which just compounds the anxiety, and it's just it's a really clever way of representing cause and effect of and putting you in Nina's shoes,
And it's a great way of sort of giving you a potted history of their relationship in the space of one tiny scene, really. Because as you say, that's I think
she says something like "not this again" or something like that.
Yeah, that's about the scratching, right? I think when she starts aggressively rubbing like ointment over her or something like that.
I mean, that scene in particular I found very affecting. It reminded me a lot of the Babadook. Right, which has a similar way of occasionally giving you a glimpse behind the pantomime horror. Like Babadook's very scary.
Yeah.
For two reasons. And the same as this is very scary for two reasons. One, you've got the I'm not really sure what I'm seeing, ghosts. But then you have an occasional glimpse into the real world about like anxiety, depression, mental health, and how it affects people in their families. And that is like somewhat more upsetting to see. Yeah. But it's an amazing way of portraying it, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Yeah. I looked up the sort of most beloved portrayals of mental health, mental health issues, disorders, whatever you'd call them in films. And I'll just reel off a list here. Okay. If you can comment if you've seen any of them. Melancholia.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean that's a very interesting portrayal of sort of clinical depression. The Machinist.
Yes, I've seen it, but not for some years.
Yeah, that is
insomnia,
I would say
right?
About insomnia
as a result of
grief and A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah.
Which
paranoid schizophrenia.
Yeah, I think that's probably. I haven't seen it for a while. I feel like that may not have aged particularly well.
I don't know. John Nash, right? Is the mathematician?
Yeah, I think so. Jacob's Ladder, which I don't think we've seen. Have we? Shutter Island.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because that is I thought of the same, thought about it as well when discussing our notes, and that's kind of hysterical. It's pure. It's like those moments in Inception where they're fully in the dream world.
Yeah,
but something in real life affects it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that, right? Because the whole thing's a hallucination. Spoilers for Shutter Island.
Kind of. Yes and no. It's not quite as simple as that, and I think that is another paranoid thriller in which the paranoia becomes increasingly more relevant.
I don't like Shutter Island.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we should cover it at some point because I think it's quite good.
I don't like it. Well, let's watch it anyway.
No, but how many, I don't know how many times you've watched it.
I watched it once in the cinema.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I think it's quite a good film, so maybe we should revisit it. Little Miss Sunshine for Steve Carell's
that's really
character.
Good, actually, yeah.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, obviously.
He's not mentally ill.
No, but the other patients, obviously.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's more of a representation of the terrible treatment of people with mental illness.
Yeah. Memento, you mentioned. Fight Club.
Come on.
Which I think is a bit of a Hollywood, loving maybe. And Rain Man.
Yeah, Rain Man's really good.
Yeah, Rain Man is quite an impressive performance, I think. I only watched that last year for the first time.
Really? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's again like some of the older films that have or present mental health disorders don't have always the most favourable treatment of the characters, but then that's probably reflective of the attitudes of the time. So I think Rain Man is possibly one of those, although it does redeem itself towards the end.
It does, but then I was reading an article about it where it says basically it's had a negative effect in as much as now people will assume that someone with, I think he's got Asperger's. Right?
Well, he's an autistic savant, isn't he?
Exactly. That's the
but
problem.
not all autism comes with the savant side of
exactly,
it, which means that that is probably misleading for a lot of people.
Exactly,
yeah. But I think Black Swan, it's difficult not to see it as a bit hysterical because it's so heightened.
Yeah. It's a melodramatic way of showing quite accurately how a mental illness works.
Yeah, I don't disagree that it's to some extent.
Do you agree with the comparison with the Babadook?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but then I think, I think though that the Babadook is, in the end, like a sort of thing that she can fight off. And you can treat the whole film as a sort of metaphor for combating grief. Whereas with this, it's a bit more, there seems to be a sort of a nicer moral or nicer message in the Babadook in that it presents someone's sort of development in relation to their disorder, whereas in Black Swan it's very much watch this person descend into something. And so as everything becomes more heightened, it does become a bit more outlandish. And I don't know how true to the sort of undiagnosed conditions that are in the film. I don't know how true those.
Yeah. Look, I mean,
like we're not psychologists,
exactly, and take it with a pinch of salt if you do suffer for any of those things that we don't necessarily understand them as well as we might have if we had done research for this podcast.
Yeah, well, one thing that's I was going to say that I really love about the film though is that part of what sells all of the mental health issues that she's going through is the sound design, which is just astonishing. And I had forgotten about that facet of the film, really. But there are fingernail sounds and whispers and laughter and things that sort of exist in this like low-level hum around Nina whenever she's on screen. And there are plenty of instances, for example, where the voices or laughter or whatever are somehow audible to Nina, even though she's miles away from the people that you see on screen making the noise. And it's clear that those are projections of Nina's anxieties. And so it's, you know, she believes that these people who are like far away are like laughing at her or talking about her. And it does a great job of just having these quick little insert shots of people where they just look up at Nina a tiny bit as they're laughing with one another. And it's a brilliant portrayal of that sort of crippling social anxiety that people feel, where they do feel like they're just going to be laughed at by everyone.
So it does bear a lot of similarities with other films. Darren Aronofsky, before making Black Swan, made The Wrestler. And that is a very interesting film to compare it to. You've seen The Wrestler, right?
Yes.
It's Mickey Rourke's best movie. It's just such a good film.
It's got one of the best original songs.
What, The Boss?
Bruce Springsteen.
The Wrestler.
It's a magnificent song and a very good film.
So originally Aronofsky wanted to do a movie that was a love affair between a wrestler and a ballerina, but said that would be too hard.
Well, it's bottled it basically.
Yeah, shit himself. But essentially, at their core, the two movies are very, very similar, right?
Yeah,
they follow the same beats. They are movies about people who are chasing perfection and stardom at the cost of their bodies, both mentally and physically. And they have very similar beats, like even down to like a drug-fueled night of passion being like a punctuating mark in the middle of it all.
Yeah,
and they end on an extremely similar note as well, where there's an element of sacrifice in pursuit of artistic endeavour.
Yeah, and they're both sort of subtly ambiguous, I think, in the same sort of way, aren't they?
Yeah.
In the ending.
Like the point, I think, in both films, and I don't want to spoil The Wrestler, because it's a really good film and everyone should watch it. The point in both films is that, you know, is this worth it? After all? And it's worth it to the characters. What they're doing is worth it to them. And then at the end, it probably doesn't really matter what happens, because it's the point is that they were willing to go to the point they go to, and that's enough of a statement in itself.
Yeah, it's like a boxing movie or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like a boxing movie.
Whereas in like, you and I often disagree on boxing films because you admire the people's drive, you know, stories about people's drive and determination to reach a goal.
Against the odds.
Against the odds, and despite any sort of harm or trauma that they may put themselves or others through. And I often struggle to connect with those sorts of characters because I can't see past the like inherent selfishness of those sort of actions. And both Black Swan and The Wrestler are sort of similar in that sense.
Yeah, but they both have the added layer, which is that there's a push factor as well as a pull factor, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're drawn to it because there's an artistic appeal, but they're also pushed into it by external forces.
Yeah.
Economic, parental, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You can also compare it with Roman Polanski's early work, which a lot of the people involved in the movie have said it is, you know, drawn inspiration from.
Rosemary's Baby.
Of course, yeah. I mean, everyone in the movie appears to be treating everything perfectly normally, but the main character is going slowly mad trying to make sense of everything, and that's Rosemary's Baby, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And Aronofsky said that he drew a lot of inspiration from Dostoevsky's The Double.
Yeah, which is an obvious...
Yeah, I haven't read that, but I think there's something obvious about having a doppelganger walking around, because it gives the impression that either you or someone else is an imposter.
Yeah.
Or out to get you, or that you're a fraud.
And in The Double, I think his doppelganger is the more socially able, the more popular, the more confident version of himself.
Right. So it's not just the literal doppelgangers walking around in Black Swan, but it's also Mila Kunis's character.
Yeah, and also no one else sees the similarity. Right. I think.
Okay.
It's just him.
It's good. And we mentioned Whiplash as well earlier. That's another movie about the absolute drive to be perfect in an artistic endeavor,
Yeah.
despite all logic at a lot of points.
Yeah, similarly abusive or
Yeah.
charismatic instructors as well, and similar sort of only ostensibly triumphant endings.
Yeah.
Um,
Triumphing for triumph's sake, but not like it won't last.
well, the thing that I love about Whiplash is that it ends in such a dramatic, triumphant manner, but then half an hour after the film, you're like, oh, that's not good, is it?
So yeah, a phallic victory. Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah, a phallic victory, mate.
Phallic
Well
victory.
done. Yeah, you cocked that out, didn't you? So, Joe.
Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah. Some death in Black Swan, isn't there?
Death.
Yeah, and some dancing.
Yeah.
As there was in both Suspiria and Suspiria, which we covered.
Yeah. Death and dancing.
Yeah. Well, how much do you know about death and dancing, Joe?
Really?
Yep. Well, let's find out in my Dance of Death quiz.
Dance of Death quiz.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How does it work?
These are all films
Dance
that have,
or die.
These are all films that have both dancing and death in them. And
I thought you were
I'm
going
going
to
to ask
do
you a
swans
question.
in
I'm
movies.
going to ask you a question about them, and you're going to
Swans
have to,
in movies are doing better.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question about them, and then you tell me the answer. Okay, that's how a quiz works.
Yeah.
Question 1.
Yeah.
Black Swan was one of only 6 horror movies in history to be nominated for the Best Picture Oscar. Name the other 5.
Alien.
No. Wrong.
Shining.
No.
Oh my god. Have I seen them?
We've covered 3 of the 5.
Oh, Get Out.
Yeah.
Give me an era.
70s?
Oh, the that one. You know the one.
For the listeners at home, Joe just pointed with his finger while he screamed. Are you thinking of Invasion of the Body
Yeah.
Snatchers? No. Incorrect.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to mark that down as incorrect. It was. You could have had any of The Exorcist,
oh god.
Jaws,
Yeah.
The Silence of the Lambs.
Jaws is pushing it. It's a family movie.
It's a horror movie. It's definitely a horror movie. Family movie. The Silence of the Lambs, The Sixth Sense, Get Out. Question 2. Which gangland musical tragedy tackles racial tension and violence in Manhattan's Lincoln Square neighborhood?
This was in a recent quiz as well. It's West Side Story.
Correct. Yes, very good. From 1961. Question 3. Which British classic, based on a Hans Christian Andersen story by the same name, features a dancer seemingly possessed by a pair of ballet shoes?
The Glass Slippers.
Unfortunately not. It was The Red Shoes. Powell and Pressburger, classic, 1948. Seen it?
Nope.
Question 4. In 2002 musical Chicago, Roxy and Velma are on death row. Why?
Roxy killed the guy she was cheating on her husband with.
Roxy shoots dead a man who falsely claimed to be her ticket to stardom.
Yeah.
Because he says, like,
Yeah,
I can get you in touch with a manager or something like
Yeah,
that.
but he actually sells like corks for.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And Velma kills her husband and her sister after finding them in bed together.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant? With the
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Yeah, I watched the beginning of Chicago on a flight and then fell asleep. So
Right.
give me some.
That's why you you felt like you might know it. Question 5. In The Cabin in the Woods, which mythical creature appears in a tutu and with a whole lot of teeth?
The tooth dancer.
It's the Sugar Plum Fairy.
Right, of course it is.
Question 6. Which film's star-crossed lovers first dance together as the result of an abortion?
It's Dirty Dancing, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Because the one girl can't dance anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, I see.
Yes, Baby stands in for her friend Penny as Johnny's dance partner, so Penny can have an abortion. Question 7. Which film features a memorable dance scene between a spider and the Oklahoma Kid?
Between Spider
and the Oklahoma Kid.
The only spider I can think of is in Goodfellas.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Because what's his name? It's Tommy, right?
Tommy, yeah.
Tommy calls himself the Oklahoma Kid.
Right.
As he's doing it, he says, "Oklahoma Kid, that's me. I'm the Oklahoma Kid. You fucking varmint. Dance, dance, Yahoo, you motherfucker." As he shoots him repeatedly. The barman is called Spider.
Yeah. Played by Christopher Moltisanti.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. I think you got a few right.
I got a couple.
West Side Story, you got right.
Mate, it's a shit quiz. It was rubbish. With all that said,
yeah.
if you were the prima ballerina in the New York City Ballet,
Nina the prima ballerina.
you're not far off it, I think. A few more hours and you'll be there.
Yeah, a few more pliés. And
Yeah.
I'll be I'm a few pliés short of a tutu, whatever that means.
Yep. How would you do it? How would you survive the pressures of the top spot?
Okay, well, assuming Lily is not out to get Nina.
Assuming Lily exists in the first place.
Yeah. Don't spike your friends' drinks.
Yeah, that's a bit mean, isn't it?
And if you see your drink being spiked, don't drink your spiked drink.
Well, she obviously wants to drink it at that point. If I spiked your drink, I know you wouldn't want to take it, so you'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Spiking my
I
drink
don't.
for?"
It doesn't appear that she's ever taken ecstasy before.
Yeah, she hasn't done much before.
No.
Pretty sheltered existence.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you done ecstasy?
No.
If you saw me put ecstasy in a drink of yours, would you drink it?
No.
Exactly. But she did want to drink it.
But isn't she sort of? In fact, what she wants to do at that point is leave
But then why didn't she leave?
because she's socially incapable.
So you think she did it out of like
Out of social
sheer awkwardness?
Yeah, I think there's an element of that for sure. She goes over and says, "I'm going to go," and Mila Kunis is like, "No, we've got these two fit guys, and we're going to go dance or whatever."
Yeah.
And
Drop a pinger.
yeah,
Yeah.
clearly, it's peer pressure, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she fancies and sort of respects Lily,
yeah.
and so she's probably just trying to bow to the peer pressure, which she shouldn't do.
Yeah. My wife made an interesting point about it, which is that
Drugs are illegal.
Nina, her relationships are all like just messed up because she doesn't know like what a relationship is meant to be like.
Yeah, she has
So-
no schema for
yeah, exactly.
building.
So like she quite likes Lily, and that quite liking her manifests in a sex dream or actual sex,
yeah,
and like her respect for her employer is fucked up by the fact that the employer is taking advantage of it. But then she's
Yeah.
like denying that it's a problem.
yeah.
It's
Pretty messed up girl.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's not her fault.
no.
She takes drugs, mate. No, it is her
Yeah,
fault.
exactly. Don't do
Willingly
drugs. That's
take
the
drugs.
message. That's the real message of the film, isn't it?
Don't do
do
drugs.
drugs. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, an alternative on that, how to survive.
Mhm.
You've had a hangover before.
Yeah.
Do you normally drink on a work night?
No, well, not to excess.
Yeah.
I don't normally take ecstasy on a work night.
Right,
certainly.
exactly. For what reason?
Well, because it would affect your next day's work.
Right. And
Especially
you-
if I was in a high pressure,
Yeah.
high stakes project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If the entire New York City Ballet Theatre, I don't know what it's called, but that place was sold out, and they were all just watching you cut together a corporate video for an insurance company.
Yeah.
And they were like all like, oh, and every time you like a little
You
cut,
cut,
they were like,
yeah.
oh, ah, wow.
Yeah. Round
They're
of
throwing
applause.
roses on the stage.
Yeah.
You
And
you wouldn't take ecstasy the night before.
Yeah, and I was hallucinating an evil editor trying to take over. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
While bleeding out of your stomach.
Exactly, yeah. In my dressing room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever had to play the role of two content marketers at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a quick costume
When
change.
you market the content of another, you remake yourself in the image of its creator.
Yeah, basically it.
Yeah.
That's branding. It's not branding.
Yeah.
That just sounds like something someone would say.
No.
So the point is, don't do drugs on the night before a pitch.
Yeah.
Wait.
who are you
Speaking from
talking
experience.
to? Sound advice, anyway.
Yeah. Don't do drugs.
No.
Not going to do any good.
No.
No one's on their deathbed thinking, oh, I wish I'd done more ecstasy.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they are.
Mm.
Yeah. A
Pellets.
man who has a disease for which the only cure is ecstasy.
Yeah. Okay.
Any ideas from you?
Yeah. Just loosen up, man. Just go with it. Because that's the big problem, isn't it?
She's too uptight.
She's very uptight. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Yeah.
Um,
And then she has a pill and takes a random woman home and has sex with her.
exactly. So,
Shouts at her
I
mother.
mean, it's cheap advice just to say loosen up.
yeah. It is
So-
cheap, yeah. I'm
It's
glad
cheap.
I'm glad that you admit it.
So I took to the web
Right.
to find some sound advice.
Okay.
This is a website. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called wikihow.com.
Great.
And this is
absolute textbook. Joe can't think of any ideas.
this is
material.
how to loosen up. So a few points they've got, and I won't labour it. I'll just give you the headlines.
Mhm.
Point 1: have some brainless fun. You could still think of yourself as the smart one or the serious one, and relax and have some fun once in a while.
Mhm.
Go bowling, play charades, get a little drunk on wine, and giggle with your girlfriends.
She certainly does that.
Try on silly costumes. Does that?
Yeah.
Run around the beach, and New York normally beaches.
Yeah.
Do something that requires 0% of your brain power. It will feel good. So, point 2.
I mean, she's already ticked off 2 or 3 of them, hasn't she?
Yeah.
It doesn't help her, does it?
There's a few more points. Maybe
Okay,
it's
all right.
it's a mass.
Maybe she's done Act 1.
Yeah.
Right.
2. Learn to take a joke. This is key to loosening up.
Yeah.
If someone teases you, makes fun of you, or makes a joke as a response to a comment you've made, you have to learn to laugh it off, and maybe even to give it back. So, when Mila Kunis is like, someone's hard for a teacher, and
she's like, oh, how dare you?
then she storms out.
Yeah.
If she'd been like, at least I'm getting some, you old tart, or something.
Yeah.
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 She'd have been well in there. She wouldn't have had to die at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Question 3.
Yeah.
Break some rules. This doesn't mean you should break into a car or steal an iPod,
Or murder your dance partner.
but it does mean that you should stop being so obsessed about sticking to the rules that you go crazy if you see someone breaking them. She does go crazy.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she saw someone breaking the rules before the start of the film.
And she's the guilt about
This is the
letting-
after effect
Yeah.
of that.
She saw someone like parking on double yellows and
Yeah.
didn't say anything.
Exactly.
This is what happened.
Yeah. Out of control.
Question point 4. Take a break. Sometimes you just need to take a break in the middle of all the action to really relax. If you feel like you're tight as a drum in the middle of work, school, or a fun session with friends, then you just need to cool off for a few minutes, to step outside, to look at cute photos of cats, to call your mum, or just do whatever it is that will help you feel normal again.
She does call her mum a lot.
Yeah.
And
She
doesn't-
doesn't call her mum. She always snubs the calls.
right, I see. Yeah. Well,
Where's
she
this
does at
going
the
wrong?
start, doesn't she? Because she calls her to go like,
I'm the
"Oh, I'll
queen."
be home soon." Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking, what a dick. Call your mother. Question 5. Get some rest.
Question 5.
Point 5. I don't know. Get some rest. One of the reasons you may find it so hard to loosen up is because your body is chronically exhausted without you realizing it. If you can get enough rest, you'll have more energy and peace of mind for facing the day and won't let the most basic challenges upset you. It's a very... Being the
Basic
prima
challenge.
ballerina in
Yeah.
the New York Ballet and in a double role of
Yeah.
Swan Lake is basic.
Basic.
Go outside. Doesn't go outside. And that's the problem. Hang out with relaxed people. The problem with that is
she's not around many relaxed people.
Yeah,
other than Lily, who drugs her.
Exactly. Yeah. Declutter your life. She does do that. She dumps like everything she owns down the garbage.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, why not donate those to a charity for God's sake?
Selfish. And the last point is exercise. Now, maybe that's what she needs to do is hit the gym.
She's not doing enough exercise. You reckon?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not enough exercise.
Yeah.
Because exercise...
Cut out fatty foods.
will give your body a positive outlet and will give you the energy you need to face the day.
Great.
Excellent. So there you are. It's
that's
cut and dry.
Film solved.
The other the WikiHow that I didn't go for, but I was tempted to, was how to do ballet at home.
Right.
She loves ballet so much.
Yeah. Do it at home. Do it as a hobby.
Doesn't need to be all about ballet. So there you go, mate. How was that?
Yeah, very good, very good.
Do you feel like you survived it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Nina will be perfectly well adjusted with our advice.
Yeah. Thanks, Nina, for listening.
Yes.
And thank you, Natalie Portman, for playing Nina. And thank you, Darren Aronofsky, for casting Natalie Portman in the film.
Yep.
And thank you, Columbia TriStar. Who was it? Paramount?
I don't know.
Well, people know that shit. I don't know that shit.
No, I don't.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Kermode would know that.
Mm.
There's nothing from Paramount. They love making films like this.
Well, that's why he's on BBC Radio 5 Live, and we're stuck in my spare room.
If you want to get in touch with us in the spare room,
yeah, it's spare room at
the cupboard under the stairs.
Yeah,
that's a little Harry Potter reference for you, Chris.
Nice.
You like that, don't you?
Yeah, great.
You lit up when I said that.
Yeah, my scar started to hurt.
HowToSurviveShow@gmail.com.
Yeah,
with your Harry Potter thoughts.
Yeah,
or How to Survive thoughts.
Yeah, or on Twitter at HowToSurvivePod. Don't forget that you can rate and review us on iTunes. A 5-star review, if you've enjoyed the podcast, would go a long way to making this whole charade feel worthwhile. Next week, of course, is Christmas, Joe. So happy holidays to one and all, everyone who's listening. Now, normally, we put a few bonus episodes out, don't we? Around the Christmas period to cover some Christmas movies. So it would be a shame to break that tradition. So we're not going to. So look out for those in your podcast feed.
It's a surprise. Are you going to tell them what they are?
Well,
the last 2 years we've done Die Hard movies, right?
Yeah, and the problem with Die Hard with a Vengeance is that it's not set at Christmas. Therefore, is
not a Christmas.
Not objectively not a Christmas film. So we have on Christmas Eve there'll be something new.
Nothing says Christmas like a white man standing in the middle of Harlem wearing a sign that says "I hate N-words" or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Nothing says Christmas like it, mate.
No, absolutely.
You wouldn't get that in a film these days.
No, and
with good reason.
And of course, on Boxing Day, there is the 4th film in the Home Alone franchise, and we will be covering it. Unlike any other, it's a film that's not been covered by any internet media accounts or personalities or film review. Channels. No one has ever talked about it, Joe. No one. No. Not anyone who was in the film, not anyone who was in any of the rest of the franchise. So that'll be coming out on Boxing Day, Joe. The first discussion of Home Alone 4 that I'm aware of
this year.
This year or any year on the internet by any sort of film review group. And the best part is, Joe, we've had this planned for ages.
Well,
and
this is
ages.
a tradition. This is a tradition.
Yeah, exactly. It's been 4 years in the making, and you know what will happen is that podcast will go out, and I'll see how many people download it, and I will know that there's, however many or few people download it, right? I will be comfortable in the knowledge that nowhere on the internet will there be in existence a discussion of Home Alone 4 that will have more people downloading, watching, or listening to it. So thank you very much for listening, and look forward to those over the Christmas period. And yeah, that's it. We're done.
We're done. Thank you.
Yeah.
See you next. So we're recording next time, yeah?
Yeah. You're good. You did well this week.
I was perfect. We'll do a quick plot recap after this.
Oh, it's a trailer for Black Swan. Oh, Nina, do a good dance, please. Oh, but what if you've gone mad? No. Mila Kunis looks like she wants to dance as well.
Do you reckon the trailer's going to set her up to be the baddie?
Probably, yeah. It'll have all the, woman walking past her in the alleyway and like the noise and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Like,
And then,
yeah.
That's supposed to be a trumpet. I don't know if you got that.
Right.
But
Okay.
if it was a 90s trailer, that would be good. Like, some people strive for perfection.
That would be like, Nina thought she had everything. A beautiful body. A great career. But is she about to go crazy?
Now she's finding out what it means to be the Black Swan. All right. Quick plot recap for those who haven't seen it or haven't seen it in some time.
Can you do it all in that voice?
In which one?
Nina is a ballerina.
Black Swan tells the story of Nina, the ballerina.
I think you got a few right.
I got a couple.
West Side Story you got right.
Mate, it's a shit quiz. It was rubbish.
Great.
It's your worst one.
Thanks, mate. No, it's not. We've had much worse than that.
What's the worst one ever?
It's the one in They Live, definitely.
Ask them any question and they'll reply with an answer.
Yeah. You see a man walking down the street, ask him any question, he'll quote a line from any film back at you, and you have to tell me what film it's from and who it is, and they were all wrestlers. So like half of the films were like Chainsaw Man 3.
I think Bill Goldberg played like Inmate 1 or something.
Yeah, you fucking dick.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, this was better than that, admittedly.